Hi guys, how are you all doing? Welcome to the channel, guys. This is the Tennis World with a tennis expert. I'm your tennis expert. 2025 French Open final preview. Semi-finals just concluded. So let's look at what had happened. First semi-final, it's a 4-set victory for Carlos Alcaraz. He started off slow. He was very inconsistent. He was doing this thing where he attacks too much high-risk shots and makes a whole lot of errors. But also, Musetti was attacking him and being more aggressive than he normally does. And then Alcaraz didn't want to give up control. So Alcaraz is going for too much power to try to get back the control, making errors, goes down a set. Really was inconsistent until the tiebreak second set. Then he just catches fire right at the time when Musetti's injured and he runs over the top of him. He's up in the fourth set, 2-love, 2-1, and that's when you see Musetti retiring. So Alcaraz moves through. Second semi-final, it featured Djokovic against Sinner. What I said in this one was, I said it would be 4 sets to Sinner. 3 very close sets. Because I felt like they're not quite close enough for 5, but straight sets, Sinner's not that much better than Djokovic. And it was kind of on that level of closeness. But instead of playing out through the score of 4 sets, it played out through 3 close sets. 6-4, 7-5, 7-6, very close to being a 4 set. But anyway, it happened in the way that I said. Sinner has just as much consistency as Djokovic. He's hitting it deep, trying to move the opponent left to right in long rallies. But he's got more power on his ground stroke, so he's getting to control the rally, and then he gets to start the rally ahead because he's got a bigger serve. But other than that, he's just doing the same thing with Djokovic, with consistency, moving the opponent right to left, but with more power. So therefore, he gets to control the rally with Djokovic. That's what happened. And then because Djokovic didn't like to be pushed around like that, and he couldn't just play defense and hope that Sinner's not going to be in the rally and he's going to go for the line and make errors, right? That wasn't possible. Because Sinner's patient and consistent. So Sinner was going to be consistent like him, but having more power and control in the rallies and pushing around Djokovic. And because Djokovic didn't want to do that, his normal rally shot would have less power than Sinner, so Sinner would control most of the rallies, which means he's going to lose. But then the other problem is, if he's always running and moving around at his age at 38, he's going to be tired. So that's another issue for Djokovic, right? So then Djokovic didn't want that. So Djokovic said, I can't play my normal rally shot because Sinner's going to have more power. So I'm going to go for a lot of power near the line. And when he did that, he hit some winners, but hit some errors. But it was a bit of inconsistency. But when he was patient and Sinner was patient, Sinner has more power on the rally shot. So Sinner was controlling the rallies. So anyway, straight sets there. Here we go. French Open Final 2025. Carlos Alcaraz of Spain versus Jannik Sinner of Italy. Now, guys, I think these guys are about on an equal level in their career, but I'll tell you why the clay suits Alcaraz. One, because Sinner's biggest advantage that he has over Alcaraz is the serve. Sinner's serve is clearly better than Alcaraz. The clay slows down the serve, giving the opponent more time to react. And then Alcaraz is a great returner anyway. So when he's a great returner, Sinner's serving against a great returner, and the serve is slowing down after it bounces and hits the clay, then that's really taking away the one thing Sinner has over Alcaraz, right? The biggest thing Alcaraz has over Sinner, he's much faster. Now, if the ball slows down when it hits the clay and Alcaraz is running after balls, that's going to give Alcaraz even more time to get to the ball, making it even harder to get past him, which means it's accentuating Alcaraz's strengths, his speed, and it's taken away Sinner's strengths to serve. Then the third thing you need to understand is to hit through the court against a fast defender, which both these guys are quite fast. You need a huge weapon to generate enough power to get through the slow clay court and get past your opponent. You need like a huge weapon. Who has that advantage? Who has that big weapon? Alcaraz on the forehand, biggest shot on the court. Another advantage. Whereas on a faster court, Sinner has no problem getting past any defender, even Alcaraz. But here it's harder to finish points, and you need that really, really huge weapon. Alcaraz has it on the forehand. So, like, when Alcaraz needs to finish points, he's going against a defender that's quite fast, but not one of the fastest in the world. But he's got a huge forehand that can get through this court against anyone. But then it's even easier because he doesn't have to get through someone as fast as he is. He has to get through Sinner. Whereas Sinner doesn't have that huge weapon and that level of power, which makes it harder anyway. But then it's even harder, because now he's got to get it through someone very fast, the fastest guy on the tour, and the slowest court. So for that, you need that huge weapon more than ever. So do you see the advantage? When Alcaraz wants to finish points, it's his huge forehand against a guy who's just reasonably fast. Whereas for Sinner trying to finish points, he's going for a slow court, fastest guy out there, but doesn't have a huge weapon like an Alcaraz forehand. So it's going to be much easier for Alcaraz to finish points. One, on the defensive, because Alcaraz is faster, it's harder to get through him than it is through Sinner on this slow court. Two, to have that big weapon to finish the point, Alcaraz's forehand is the biggest shot on the court. And then Sinner's strength is taken away because it's slowing down the serve, right? And then the other thing is, like, clay is slow but high bouncing, so topspin makes it bounce high. Alcaraz has more topspin. And what we saw in Rome, it was a real issue. Sinner, with his slow clay courts and Alcaraz being very fast and hard to finish point, and you need a huge weapon like an Alcaraz forehand and him not having it. Sometimes he couldn't get past Alcaraz. Sometimes he went for too much power near the line to try to finish and he made errors. Whereas Alcaraz with a huge forehand can get past anyone, and Sinner's not even as fast as him. And then Alcaraz's speed was accentuated by the clay, giving him even more time to get to the balls. Sinner having trouble finish points, and Sinner's big strength over Alcaraz's serve was really taken away because the clay is slowing down the serve. So these are the advantages, I would say, for Alcaraz. Top spin on the higher bouncing court, a big weapon to try to finish the points on the forehand, his speed being even harder to get past, and then Sinner's big advantage, his serve being taken away by the slow clay court. So for this reason, I think that Alcaraz gets back his serve, gets him in rallies. It's hard for Sinner to get past this slower court for Alcaraz's speed. And then in the rallies, Alcaraz is the forehand where he can get through this court, get past Sinner's defense, and finish the rallies and hit the winners. And I think that's what will be the big factor here. That Sinner's going to have much trouble getting through Alcaraz's defense and finishing points, whereas Alcaraz will be able to do it with Sinner much more easily, and the advantage of the serve is taken away. But there'll be lots of great rallies, but I would say Alcaraz's speed and the big forehand really give him the victory here. But yeah, just expect to see a lot of great rallies. But then the biggest shot on the court, Alcaraz's forehand winning him the match, and then his speed making it very hard for Sinner to get past him. Look for those two edges, plus the fact that Sinner's big strength is taken away by the clay slowing down his serve. But having said that, Sinner is playing a lot better than than he did at Rome. That was his first tournament. He's not lost a set. Even Djokovic couldn't get a set. But one thing about the Djokovic match is it was very close, all 3 sets. So if Alcaraz was a bit better than Djokovic in all 3 sets, he could potentially win in straight sets just because all 3 sets were close. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Alcaraz has these advantages that I mentioned. They're going to win him the match, the defense and the forehand. And then Sinner's taken away the serve, and Sinner having trouble getting past Alcaraz's defense, but Alcaraz being able to get past Sinner's defense with the forehand. But with Sinner playing so well, not losing a set, I think despite these disadvantages that he gives away from Alcaraz, and despite losing 4 in a row, Sinner is playing so well, he will be able to push Alcaraz to a 5th set. We've seen many times a deciding set, and then again, when it's equal and it's coming down to the big points, who's the best under the big points between these two? We've seen lots of matches of deciding sets. Almost all of them Alcaraz wins. Alcaraz won a 5th set last year at the French Open when they played. So, yeah, I would just say, and most of their matches that went to a deciding set, Alcaraz won it. So even when they're equal and playing the same level and it just comes down to the big points, Alcaraz wins. So that's another thing. I would say Alcaraz, because of the forehand, more power to finish points, and the defense, and Sinner's serve being taken away. But then the last thing, even if Sinner makes it completely even and gets over all these disadvantages, then it's going to come down to the big points, and then Alcaraz is better too. But I do think the way Sinner's playing, he will be good enough to push him to a 5th set because he's not lost a set yet. But these advantages that I've mentioned, forehand and speed, plus the better in the bigger moments because it's going to be so close, they win Alcaraz the match. So I'm saying Alcaraz in 5. Carlos Alcaraz is going to be your 2025 French Open champion, beating Jannik Sinner in 5 sets. This match is going to look much more like the first set in Rome, but not the second, but for 5 sets of that. But just like that set was won very close to Alcaraz, this is going to be 1 in 5. But yeah, like that's the really big thing. And I think a lot of the time these great rallies will be controlled by Alcaraz's forehand, having the most power of all the shots on the court between both of them. That's going to be a big factor in the rallies. Sinner's serve being taken away, and then Sinner having trouble getting past Alcaraz's speed and defense, and either not getting past it or going for too much power near the lines and making errors. But if he doesn't go for too much power, then Alcaraz controlling a lot of these rallies on the forehand. But yeah, great rallies, very even, but coming down to the big points and coming down to Alcaraz with more speed, better forehand, the forehand more power than any of Jannik Sinner's shots, and just being better under pressure in the big moments, plus a bit better at the net and drop shots and all these variety type things. But in the end, they're going to be so close, going to come down to the big moments, and Alcaraz will be better under the big moments, and Carlos Alcaraz will beat Jannik Sinner in 5 sets, and Carlos Alcaraz will be your 2025 French Open champion with a 5-set win over Sinner. That's my video. Subscribe, bell notification, thumbs up. Come back on Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll review this final. And thanks for watching. Subscribe, bell notification, thumbs up. Bye for now, guys. Guys, I'll see you Tuesday, Wednesday for my review. Subscribe. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.